right away, Carson, I just want to kind of take responsibility for how that interaction went. I recognize that I didn't do a good job to you demonstrating my business value. I wanted to take this opportunity to show you that if I can get a few minutes of your time. First of all, like I just want you to know that I'm super passionate about this opportunity. I think it's an amazing fit, culture wise, tech stack wise, everything you guys stand for, what you're building. I really do think it's an amazing opportunity. So I want to run through some code with you, at least just kind of show business value through a Lucid chart and just show some brief code, hopefully in a small short amount of time. And then I do have a bit of a value proposition at the tail end. If you'll hear me out on that. So yeah, let's dive into the code. So here's a rough speculation of my business value from front end of random data, stranger data, basically is what I say, to now data it's defined in your system, so on and so forth. So I've built a few things. I do data scraping currently. I've built a data scraper that I'm going to show you in this demo that's really powerful. It's using OpenAI lane chain functions. It's really strong. And obviously, this is a front-end opportunity. So the biggest thing I want to highlight, obviously, is going to be my front-end, just marketing tooling, templating, kind of the CSS-y stuff, but that's everywhere. But the biggest thing that I'm very, very, very talented at is the API integrations, and specifically to a backend that defines a schema. I pull that same schema, contract generation, type safety, payload compilation, and doing it in a way with AppSync and GraphQL. And as whether the contract generation is through Swagger Hub, GraphQL, or Prisma, it's a really robust system. But I don't want to get too nitty gritty in the tech. I just want to show you how quick it is as well. So I'll do a demo here, and I'll do a demo here, and then hopefully they're quick demos, not too painful, right? But I just want to talk a little bit on the backend stuff. Not my strongest skill set, but I'm okay with it still. Whether it's with serverless framework, I could build tiny APIs. And as mentioned, I've used Prisma to wrap my MongoDB database, stress tested that system for Team Syncer. This is my personal SaaS product. I stress tested this system for 1,000 requests a second. It's a project management system where I just use it to track tasks. So you can see UI, UX is very, very, very pretty. All that stuff. It's just task management system and front end DOM node manipulations, all that stuff. But the thing I really want to highlight today is the two biggest things that I think are core business value, which are going to be that's tail end stuff, is contract generation, API integrations, and then the data scraping that I think are key things for something you'd enjoy. So let's dive in. I have my code right here. And actually, before diving into the code, let me explain a little bit about how I approach this. So we have our front end systems, right? Our front end repos and services and systems and features, and we have our back end repository, right? So back end team's always working, and the front end team's always working. Now, how I do it, I set up my contract to always generate. I'll show you the script real quick, but I pull from AppSync whatever the back end is building. So I'm going to show you our AppSync where we have our campaigns, our campaign inputs, our clients, and we're going to go over the client one specifically today. And I want to show you how easy it is to pull in new data, because I have everything already set up with the validation, the pre-compilation, the refetching on the APIs, and the contract generation. It's super easy. So I'm going to try to explain what I'm going to do today, which is going to be the backend made an update to a request to pull in the client address as well. So I now need to do that on the front end, pull in the client address, pull that over here. That's the goal for today, to integrate it with all of this within a reasonable amount of time as well, because I don't have an hour with you. I got like 15 minutes at best. So what I need to do is pull from AppSync, make sure my contract is up to date, and then integrate this into my front end component and system. So let's do that. I'm going to go to AdSer real quick, which is right here. Here's the area where we are going to be integrating all of this. And all I want to do is just add a field down here that's obviously tied into the backend that says address. And let's do that real quick. So what I have in my script over here is just a contract generation script. So every time I run my server, I'm generating a contract with the backend. Every single time I'm updating every single day, probably multiple times a day with whatever the backend is doing. I'm updating right here every time I run dev. So it pulls in the latest renditions of our API. So if we look at our API, you can see that we now have the client address to one of our types. Here it is. Boom. Where is it? Oh, right there. So that's already handled. The contract comes in. Even at the top of the file, it gets generated with it says, do not touch this file because it's generated from AppSync, not self-generated. But we can obviously make our own self-generated contracts as well. But what I do then as well is when you do that, when you pull in the contract generation from apps, you get all your mutations and queries with it. So the two that we're focused on today are just going to be getting the profile and then updating the profile, because that's all we're looking at. It's just profile, edit, mutation, and query. So what I've done is I actually point my endpoint, my GraphQL endpoint, at these queries that are generated again from the contract. So if any changes happen from the backend engineers, I don't have to touch anything. It's already brought in from GraphQL here. So all of my get profile stuff, all of my edit profile, these are my queries. So edit profile is going to be the mutations, of course. Edit profile, you can see it's there. Looks like how it is today, but I'm sure GraphQL will update stuff and it'll always change. But point is, my endpoints are linked up right here. After they're set up proper, I'm hands off. I'm hands off unless the name changes for the function. So now we can slide into the component where I actually use this. And we're using a bit of an MVP pattern. So model view presenter. I don't want to do model view controller right now. You could just pull the endpoints into here, do an MVC pattern, but I'm going to do an MVP pattern for right now, what we've decided on. And basically what I am doing is I just need to import that client address. So let's just make a new field and call it client address. Boom, you can see it's helping me. So client address is required. That's just my form validation. So if a client tries to input and this will go by so quick. I just wanted to show how quick I could literally integrate all this new API, if you will, or this new data field that's needed. But we just have form validation, which is one of the questions I asked into the interview, if there's form validation and contract generation, specifically because I know that's something I'm really talented at. So boom, all I've done is just added that new field associated to the backend. The backend made an update. Hey, you just let the front end guy know. You let the front end guy know. And all I need to do is just pop it into here, and I'll add it to the errors as well. I've got a lovely front end component here that'll handle everything. And let's see, don't know if my server's running. It's not. I need to refresh it. So first it'll pull in that new contract to make sure I'm up to date with the backend system, and then it'll run the server. So let's just make sure the terminal is doing that. It might take a little time because I'm screen recording and audio recording as well with a microphone right here. But you can see the server finally popped up. So here, let's see. And we should see now that new address field where we can input new data or import new data, validated data as well, according to whatever validation we need, whether it's string, phone number, email validations, a certain formatted phone number, things like that. And then it's also payload validated. So meaning it's completely seamless with the API. There's if anything changes, if I misspell something, it'll let me know. So we can see that we now have this address field, and you can see there's actually that refetching happening right now. That we saw one of the retries happen from the TAN-stack query or API wrapper, which is pretty cool. So here we can see that address field is updated. So if I try to update it, our form validation works immediately right out of the box. And then our address is obviously linked up with the API from the backend. So let's pretend this is my current address, but let's pretend I live in another building, which I think is 7203. And then I actually forgot the road I live on, which is 222. Obviously we can make zip code fields and figure out how we want to do it. But you can see I get a successful message, have everything already set up. And let's see if it worked. If I refresh the page and it queries that new address, the 7203, it means boom, it worked. So API integration, seamless as that. That was just amazingly seamless to do. So that is going to be my biggest business value, at least just immediately bang for the buck. API integrations. This is what we just built, and we did it successfully. The thing I wanted to show you too, just kind of a side thing, is this data scraper with a LangChain function. So what it does, I can import any website URL as long as it's not HTML. It's encrypted HTML specifically, as it'll query the data. And then I could scrape from that parsed data right here, and it'll literally put it in the structure that we wanted. So you can see the key values that we chose: product name, product description, product category, and it's scraping all the data associated with that. So you can see product point of contact. And then the other thing, I'll show just one more website to show you it's not any sort of shimmy sham or something like that. So right here, if I paste it in, Honeydew Care, you can see it updates the query or the parse data, and then I'm scraping it here. Product name, again, we can see updated honeydew acne treatment service, Bassin diagnosis for the other object. And it literally defines the product. It tells me the description of what it is. It's for acne treatment, product category, the customer type, general consumers, specifically acne patients, versus this product customer type is for this. So it's a really, really powerful scraper. It's up to one of my favorite builds that I've done. But I'm coming up on 10 minutes. I just wanted to show a little bit more business value, and I have more things to show, but I think that's probably going to be a good demo. So let me flip back around and talk to you on this phone real quick. First of all, thank you so much for watching. I know the second interview, that the first one I had with Ryan felt really, really proper, and then I think I got a little just not professional on that second interview or demonstrating my business value. So I wanted to do that here and give you kind of an honest signal of who I am. And then the tail end offer, the value proposition that I have for you. I know it's for a front end opportunity, and I wanted to propose an offer. And it would go something like this, something that would rid you of liability, but still provide us both upside. So here's the offer is I would work for you 3 months for free as, an engineer. And I say engineer as in like, I don't want to be an intern, but I'll be an unpaid worker, if you will, or and I'll sign whatever documents, whatever paper I need to do to make this a proper, but let's say I work for 3 months. By the end of the 90 days, if you're impressed with my performance, like, hey, this guy, he's here, he's dependable, and he fits right in. He's managed to build value in our systems. We would love to have you, Ryan. If that's kind of the end result of the 90 days, I do want to ask for a senior front end engineering role, and then retroactively be paid for the 90 days that I worked for free. And then obviously if I don't live up to that bar, then hey, I'll walk away, and at least it's good experience, and then hopefully there's some things that the team got as well, and hopefully stuff that I got to learn, because I don't know how to handle 20 million API requests. For instance, I could definitely do a lot of learning there. So that's the proposition. I am so confident that I will be a dependable employee and teammates. Yeah, I'm here for it. So I deeply hope to hear back from you. And it was at the very least, thank you so much for having me on the ranch. I had a really great time and was thoroughly excited. I had no idea that was a thing, that software and ranches could go together. So thank you.